Good morning, hope everyone's well and welcome to my full day of eating. So essentially today I'm going to run you through everything I eat throughout my lovely long day. We are 3 weeks now into this push-up in body weights and this little bulk gain phase, whatever you want to call it. The idea to keep it tight, not to get too fat, and keep it in check. Now, my foods aren't amazing, but I try to make them quite enjoyable because who wants to eat boring, plain shit? When you got some leeway as well within the off season, you've got plenty of food to eat. So I try to make everything enjoyable, all right? So what I would do is start my day with some work, my 1 liter of water, which I've already drank, and now I have filled this up again with another liter. I have my coffee, which is just literally a black coffee. Very simple. Gets me started, gets me going. I'll get a little work block done now before I then head into my next meal, which will be meal 1. And I usually have that around 10 o'clock. So at the moment, surprisingly, I'm quite hungry. So I am delaying my meals a little bit. I'm eating them, 10, 1, 4-ish. So like, I'm trying to delay that first meal because even though my food's quite high at the moment, which I'll get to, I'm still hungry, which is good because if I was full and force feeding by like week 4, week 5 into my push-up, it's like, you get to week 8, week 10, and what are you gonna do? You're gonna be force feeding your food, your digestion's gonna go on the bin. So right now, in a really good spot. I will go through my supplements as well. I used to have them like with my coffee and my water. However, I just don't like having them on an empty stomach. So now I have them with meal 1. I just feel a lot better. So run through them. I'll let you know exactly why I have them, what I have, and for the reasons, and then we'll get straight into the first meal. So I will see you then. Alrighty. Meal 1, we've got oats, berries, YoPro, almond butter, salt, cinnamon, honey, which my Mrs. Dad actually makes this, and it is unreal. So while I get this ready, I'm going to talk about my supplementation in the morning. So what we do is before I end up having this meal, I will chug down all of my sups, so a whole bunch of them. We are quite fortunate to be able to get sups from Supplement Needs, who are a great company in the UK, and they have so many great health supplements. So I'm going to run through that now. So, not too many here. From what I can remember from just looking at this, we have heart stack, kidney stack, liver stack. So they all speak for themselves. Bulletproof supplements. Like I said, we're really lucky to be able to get them shipped over from the UK. We have NMN, which is an anti-aging supplement. Again, a very, very good one. We have 2 omega-3s, which is for cognitive health, brain health, cognitive health, joint health as well, helps with lipids as well. And then we have in here a white one that is NAC, okay? So again, helping with our lipids. And that is pretty much it for the morning. Sometimes I'll do ashwagandha or L-theanine, just depends on how I feel in the morning. It's sort of one of those things that I like to use when I feel like I need it rather than just the sake of using it. So it's just something I use when I feel like I might be a little bit anxious in the morning, big day of work. But realistically, L-theanine I use before bed. I think it's the best time for me. That's when I get like my most sort of anxious. I pair that with magnesium glycinate, which I'll run through all that in my last meal, but I will chug this down and then get into this meal. All right, cracker of a meal. We have 100 grams of oats, 160 grams of YoPro, 40 grams of whey, 15 grams of almond butter, 15 grams of honey, 75 grams of blueberries, and 75 grams of raspberries, about 3.5 tons of cinnamon, and about half a teaspoon of salt. So with this meal, we've got healthy fats in there from the almond butter. We've got some honey in there for some additional carbs, as again, food's just gonna keep creeping up. So, I mean, I am hungry right now. I could easily go with loads of oats, but again, want to keep our digestive system good, keep our waist tight, so not go too crazy on the volume with food. This meal was actually really good when I was dieting because it's so voluminous. As you can see, this bowl is pretty large, if you can see that. The oats with the water in there, with the yogurt, it volumizes it quite a bit. So a really good meal, like if you are dieting, but I'm just keeping it through for now because I'm hungry, but eventually I'll probably swap it out because it is quite heavy. Keeps me full as well. We use protein from Foundry Industries, and that is so filling. So after this meal, like I won't be hungry for hours, but again, it's not always about eating when you're hungry. It's about eating when you need to, as food is fuel. But This will get me going until I have my pre-workout meal, which will be in about 3.5 hours time. So I'll eat this, go to a block of work, try and get us quite a bit done. Come down, make the pre-workout meal, which is actually one of my favorite meals of the day. And then I'll go and train. So I will see you in that video. The totals for this meal, I will list on the screen somewhere, probably just here, because off the top of my head, I don't know exactly how much is in it. So I'll see you in the next video. Boom. All right. So pre-workout meal. We have a very simple, easy meal to make here. Usually I'll meal prep this, but right now I've been a little lazy with it. I mean, work from home, so for me, I'll just make my meals on the go. Sometimes they taste nicer, but very, very simple here. We have rice, pork mince, some, lost my words, veg. Now I've run out of veg actually, so I'll put 200 grams of veggies in here. However, I've actually, like I said, run out. So I'll go do a shop later and I'll just have all my veggies in my last meal, which you'll see. But we use cooked jasmine rice. Now, usually for accuracy, I like to do it raw weight. But because I have, I guess, the experience of knowing how I cook my rice consistently every single time, I can weigh it cooked. So realistically, cooked jasmine rice is about 2.5 times more than raw. But again, it's not an accurate indication because when you're cooking your rice, you probably will cook it different ways every time. However, with me, I have my rice cooker. And what I will do is put my rice in there and then put it up to the exact same amount every single time in terms of water. And then with weighing the rice, I just put the exact same amount. So literally 1 kilo of rice every single time. And what I'll do is go to this little line that's in there. Every time comes out perfect and it's exactly the same amount. So I have like that accuracy. So literally I just put it in the bowl, microwave it, and then put the meat on top. So little trick is put some water on your cooked rice before you microwave it. It's going to make it fluffy once it heats up in the microwave and makes it a lot more enjoyable. So 3 minutes in there. And then my pork mince is actually currently cooking on the stove. I just put some taco seasoning. On top of this meal, I'll chuck some salsa, some Nando's Perinese, which is a great sauce, and then a little secret ingredient, which is great for a pre-workout meal, which goes on top, which you will see in a moment, and it makes this dish so good. I wouldn't really use this if you are cutting though. It's pretty calorie dense, and for a lot of people, you will snack on this a lot. So I will show you. Bang. Pork mince, done. Burnt the absolute shit out of it by accident while I was talking to you people on this. So it is quite charcoaled, unfortunately. But we've got 250 grams of cooked jasmine rice, which is the equivalent to about 250 grams of pork mince. We use 50 grams of this salsa. Roughly, I weigh it out. I like to weigh my sauces just so I've got accuracy all the time, but it doesn't really matter if you do or not. I don't even think there's 50 grams in here. Probably bang on. Absolute prick. 40 grams, it's gonna have to do, hey. And then we do 25 grams of this Perinese. So usually this is more just fats, okay? So ups our fat content up a bit. Probably not the best way to get our fats in, but usually everything else, or literally everything else, is pretty clean, okay? Or very clean. This is probably the only fat sauce I get, which is from a sauce like this. Everything else is like almond butters, dark chocolate. Usually I do some eggs, okay, as well. But we got 25 grams of Perinese, which goes in here, which is actually quite a bit. And then we do 1 little spoon of salt. So like I spoke earlier about all my salt weighed out just in the morning. So I just know roughly exactly how much salt I'm having per day. Just easy. I've got this little tiny baby spoon. So that will go in. So dump it in there like that. And then we have the secret ingredient. These bad boys. So tortilla chips, unbelievable. Makes this meal so good. It's like you're eating GYG, like a little Mexican bowl. So 25 grams of these. Now, the reason why I say these are the secret sauce for a great pump is because they actually are loaded with a little bit of sodium. So they're salted. If you eat them, you'll know that they just have this really nice salty flavor to them. And that's because they are literally just salted in this bag. Not too much. To be fair, there's only 152 milligrams of sodium per 46 grams. So realistically, in my serving, getting around 70 grams of sodium. So it's not much, but it's a little bit extra, okay? Gives a really nice crunch. However, the issue is, if you're dieting and you're hungry, you'll put your 25 grams in, which ends up being, I will show you, not a lot. That's 20. And that's 25. So it's really easy to just shove your hand in here and keep going, okay? Don't tell my coach, but yeah, it's so good. So like honestly, if you're using this when you're cutting, you'll fill your bowl up with how much you're meant to use. High chance you're gonna shove your hand in here and eat the whole freaking bag. So use this when your food's high to get extra calories in, and I wouldn't really take it much further than that. When I am hungry, like super hungry dieting, I would rather just use a different type of carb source that will be a lot more filling, a lot more satiating, okay? Now I've got pineapple, really, really good digestive properties in pineapple. So I was gonna, some fast digesting carbs with this meal as well before I train. But for those of you who don't know, pineapple contains a really good digestive enzyme named bromelain, okay? So what that's going to do is actually help you digest animal protein. So we've got the mince in here from pork. That, with the bromelain in it, is going to help us digest this meal quite quickly before we go to the gym. And it's going to give us a nice pump and fuel us with the salt in there. And I will chow that down quite quickly. Now, with intra-workout, I have a bit of a shit show here because I ran out of what I do normally use. So we've got 50 grams of any type of carb powder, which I usually use like silk dextrin, or I'll use Powerade powder, just super easy to get your hands on, you just get it from Coles. Or I'll do some pomegranate juice, a bit of both, depends on what I'm feeling on the day. However, today we ran out. So to get the equivalent of 50 grams of carbs, I'm going to need to chug down this whole liter of coconut water. And with that as well, I've got my electrolytes in here with, again, about half of this little teaspoon of salt. It's actually less than a teaspoon. So about a quarter of a teaspoon of salt, which goes in here, which is roughly the equivalent to about 600 milligrams of sodium. Ideally, you are losing about 500 milligrams of sodium while you train and from sweating. So that'll just replenish that while we are working out. Now, I wanted to put this into a big jug, like a 1.5, 2 litre bottle. However, I don't have one. So we're going with 2 intra drinks today, which is an absolute pain in the ass, but it is what it is. So I'm going to chow this meal down, get to the gym, and I will see you all in the post-workout meal. Alrighty, off we go. So a little topic I want to cover while I'm driving is one that I've been talking about a lot recently, and that's actually training intensity, a massive one that people always, I'm not going to say get wrong, they just underestimate how hard they can push within their sets. It's like, I used to think I used to train like so hard, but I trained like a pussy, okay? So you realize how much left you've got in the tank once you start training with someone else who's actually training a lot harder than you. So, you know, I used to train with mates who are bigger than me, more experienced than me, and it really showed me like, wow, I am not training anywhere near as hard as what I should be. So as soon as I switched that mindset and started giving it everything, like that's where so much growth actually came. And no one really understands that until they actually do it. So when you're on the gym next, just give it everything. And this goes to why I don't like RIR training as well, because it's like, how do you know when you've got 3 reps left in reserve when most likely you're probably training with 5 or 6 left in the tank? You just don't know. Like when that last rep starts to slow down, like you've got between 3 or 5 more. Like there's no way you're gonna grind that last rep. I mean, sometimes it happens, you just get to a point in that set, that last rep's a grind, and then you just can't get any more. But majority of the time, it's like you've got so much more left in the tank without even realizing it. And sometimes all you need is like a training partner to show you. But yeah, what I was getting at is it's just, you need to be training hard, and that's where you will see the growth you are looking for, not from just pushing food. I mean, food is definitely a main driver of pushing your weight up, sure, but like that's there anyway. And if things aren't going right and you're noticing that you're probably accumulating too much body fat too quickly, you probably are either eating too much or you're just not training hard enough. Start training harder and you'll notice you might be able to eat more food but keep a better body composition because you are training hard, you're working the muscle, you're fueling it, you're recovering from the food you're eating, but you're training hard, so your muscles are requiring, or your body's requiring, that food to actually recover, rather than if you're training not hard but you're still eating that same amount of food, high chance that a lot of it's going to waste and you are just accumulating fat gain because you don't need as much as what you're probably currently eating to recover from the way you are training. So train hard. I don't like saying earn the food you eat, but you know, when you are training really, really hard and you are in a surplus, like make that food go to work. Don't just half-ass it because you're in an off season and you think you're just going to grow now because you're eating an abundance amount of food. Train your freaking ass off, and that's where the growth is going to come, and use that food as your fuel. So something that people just get wrong a lot of the time, and when they start to switch up how they train, they see crazy results. And I've said it so many times, like I used to dial in my nutrition so well, but you know, I got nowhere. I was going in circles, I was getting fatter and fatter and fatter, and then I'd get skinny fat and then skinny fat, and I'm just like, what is going on here? And then as soon as I started training hard, it was like, okay, I'm not getting skinny fat now. I'm starting to look leaner because I'm in a cut, but I am training like a beast. Now, bear with me here. This is going to be quite a bumpy ride. Yeah, just start training like a freak is what I'm trying to get at here. Now, let's talk pre-workout. I actually haven't used a pre-workout for probably 8 months now. It's just, don't need it. One thing with me as well, I've mentioned this like at the start of the video, I said it and plenty of times before, like I get quite anxious when it comes to nighttime, you know, later in the day. It's when I feel my anxiety sort of comes on, all right? So for me, the more I can do to lower the chances of me feeling anxious, the better. So what I do is I cut out all pre-workout a long time ago. I was using it in prep, but like since then I haven't used it. It's more of a thing where I just use caffeine now before I train when I need it, rather than just having a pre-workout. So no stimulant pre's. Sorry, probably a bit loud because of the roadworks. Yeah, stimulant pre's, not for me anymore. If anything, I use a pump. Recently, I've been back into using pumps. So, you know, just one serve of pump juice has been one of my favorites. So using that before I train, probably the last month, I actually just ran out of it yesterday. So today I've got none, and I'm probably not going to buy it again soon. Like I'll get it when I feel like it, but like I'm in no rush. Pumps are fine. I am hydrated. I am eating plenty of food. My sodium and electrolyte balance is spot on and tracked. So for me, getting a pump is not hard. Yeah, so what I was getting at is I don't really need a pre-workout right now. I don't need to rely on spending money on pre's when I don't really need them necessarily. It's something to utilize when you, maybe food's starting to get a bit lower, it's getting a bit harder to get a pump, you know, carbs are quite low. You can use a pre, but it's like, do you need them? Not at all. I mean, they do have like nitric oxides in them and pump formulas. Some have glycerol in there, which yes, can definitely induce your blood flow and your pump, but like if you're hydrated, you're having an adequate amount of sodium, your food is timed right in terms of your pre-workout meal and the amount of carbohydrates you are eating, then you should have no worries with getting a pump. And again, coming with a pump is actually being able to train the muscle. So if you're not training the muscle, you're not going to get a pump in it. So right now, no stimulant-based pre-workouts, but this brings me to what I'm doing today, which is a little bit naughty, right? So for me today, I was really tired. This morning I woke up and I was ready to fall asleep. Again, I don't know why. I think I just had a massive day yesterday and just woke up tired. Probably had a shit sleep without even realizing it. So what I have done is I bought a mini Monster. These are great, okay? Caffeine wise, I think it's like half of what a normal Monster is, 107 milligrams of caffeine. So rather than 160, it's 107, which is a lot less than a standard Monster. So what I'm doing is I drank half of that before while I was working, and I'm gonna finish the other half now. And what I've done is I've just sprinkled a little bit of salt in there, just for a little bit of extra sodium. Can't go wrong with a little bit of extra pump, but no pre-workout today. Yeah, like I said, ran out of pump juice, so just for that little extra kick. But realistically, you can easily just have a liter of water as your pre-workout, plus your pre-workout meal, which has some salts in there, and you are literally good to go. You're hydrated, you've had your sodium, you've had your carbohydrates, and that's literally the best form of pre-workout. a look at that. Alrighty, we are back with the post-workout meal. So what we got here is 100 grams of cream of rice flour. Okay, we have 20 grams of dark chocolate, 100 grams of banana. Recently I've been using frozen banana. It tastes so much better in something like this, like whether it's oats. Even if you make a smoothie, frozen banana, it just makes it thick, cold. So I've been using frozen bananas. You can buy them frozen, or if you want to save a bit of money, what you can do is just buy normal bananas, cut them up, put them in Ziploc bags, chuck it in the freezer overnight, and you have frozen bananas, and it tastes so much better, in my opinion. We also have 20 mils of maple syrup in here, so some fast digesting carbs additionally there. With that, we have some salt in here and another heck load of cinnamon. And this is a really simple, easy post-workout meal. I was having this pre-workout, but now we've swapped it out for the meal you saw previously. Just because when I get back from the gym, I just want to whip something up super quickly. I can make this before I leave it in the fridge, and it tastes great when it's cold as well. Cold or hot. I have 2 of these meals a day, so I'm going to post one later on during the day, because I have one as my last meal, and it's a little bit different, but I'm going to show you exactly how I make it, so then you guys can see and try it my way, see if you like it. But for me, one thing is just I like meals that are easy to make. Nothing that's going to take me forever, but ones that taste good as well. And so like cream of rice is something I've loved. It's digested really well for me over the years. So I've always had it in. Like my last off season, I was having it twice. This off season, currently having it twice. In prep, I was having it once, and like no issues. Peak week, I was having it probably 497 times. So it's always been really, really good and worked well for me. So good for the stomach. It's just, again, a cheap, easy meal to make. I mean, you can get like the flavored ones, which are great as well, but I just get the Mackenzie's rice flour from Coles or Woolies. But yeah, that's literally essentially it. So I'm going to munch through this, get my final work block done. It is currently 4:36, so I'll finish up in a couple of hours, have some dinner around like 6:30, sit my fat ass on the couch, or come back and do more work depending on what there is to get done. And then from there, I will have my final meal of the day before we go to bed, and that will wrap it up. So meal number 3 now, 2 more to go. Technically the intra-workout's a meal. I mean, it is 50 grams of carbs, so like I'd call it a meal. So like 5 meals and an intra. So meal 3 going down, post-workout meal, simple, easy, effective, and I will see you guys in the next meal. Alrighty, we are back with meal 4, which is like my dinner, 7:05. So a late one tonight, we're still working. But what we have here is my staple in my off season. It is so easy to get this meal in. So easy to meal prep. It is 100 grams of pasta. I use gluten-free because I feel like I digest it better. It leaves me less bloated after I eat it. It's also less calories in gluten-free pasta than standard. Again, you'd think maybe I want more now that I'm in my off season, but the fact I digest it better, my stomach feels better with gluten-free, I'll stick with it. I have 250 grams of beef mince in here, 20 grams of Parmesan cheese, which 20 grams of Parmesan cheese goes a long way. Like this thing is loaded with Parmesan cheese, okay? So we have that, we've got some salt in there. We have 100 grams of pineapple, again, for the digestive enzymes that come from it, plus a little bit of additional carbs, some additional fruit within our diet. And that is essentially a simple meal 4. I prepped this for the week, so there was no cooking video on this one today. Still got another meal in for the rest of the day, but I will get this down if you want to have a look at it. It is absolutely stunning. It actually looks disgusting in here, but it tastes so good. Really, really simple meal. The reason why I like bolognese as well is because like I grew up on pasta, bolognese, like being in an Italian family, that's all they used to cook. So when my mum sees me cooking up a big fat bowl of pasta and sauce on my day that I meal prep my food, she's really happy actually. She thinks, oh, he's being normal again. And it's like, no, I'm still normal. I'm just eating my foods. But a really easy meal to get down. So if you haven't actually had a bolognese meal within your food, definitely give it a go. It's so good, tastes amazing if you do enjoy pastas. But you can have fun with it as well. You don't need to use pasta either. I mean, you could mix it with rice and make like I guess some sort of a risotto in some sort of way. But yeah, it's a great meal to meal prep. But I'll get this down. I'm gonna keep working. Still got a few check-ins to do from a few late submissions, and got a consult in about half an hour. A few setups I want to get done, but I probably won't get that all done tonight, to be fair. I don't want to go to bed at 11 o'clock. Like I said, it's just over 7 o'clock now. I'm getting pretty tired. But yeah, everything's moving well. I am ready to smash this meal. I am hungry. I've done how many steps so far today? If we have a look, 10,735. So for me, one thing I get lazy with is my steps. I mean, I still get them in. I'm always getting my 10,000 steps, but moved houses recently and my walking pad actually broke in the move, which killed me because I used to just sit at my desk, walk all day and like didn't have to think about it. Now it's like, I'll get home from the gym and it's like, fuck, I'm on 5,000 steps. I need to walk. And it's like, if I miss my morning walk, sometimes I'm screwed for the rest of the day. I'll be walking all night. So it's good to have my steps done by this time. So sort of once I finish, I can wrap up, have a shower, jump into bed. After my final meal, which we still have, which is my cream of rice meal that I have before bed, I'll show you guys how to make it. A little tutorial on how I like to eat it, ways to make it, have some fun with it. But yeah, we'll get straight into that after I destroy this, and I'll catch you guys in the last meal. So peace. Now, before I actually get into eating this, I just realized I forgot to tell you the full breakdown of what's in this meal. I don't actually know the calories and macros off the top of my head, but I have got it calculated here. So this meal is 832 calories, 68 grams of protein, 96 grams of carbs, and 20 grams of fats. I actually forgot to mention these in the last videos, but I'm gonna pop them up on the screen here anyway for all my meals, so you will see them. Anyway, that's essentially it. So pretty calorie-ish dense meal, but it's waiting for me. So see you later. Alrighty, on to the last meal. I am tired. It is 9:30, so a little bit of a late one tonight. But we have 100 grams of rice flour. So in the bowl, boiling water, easiest way, we go with 5 times the amount. So 500 mils of boiling water in here. Now this is the lazy way of doing it, which I will show you right now. So just pick up a whisk. Much easier than using like a fork or a spoon because it gets all the clumps out, makes it nice and smooth, and just mix it until it becomes quite thick. Well, relatively thick. It needs to be popped in the microwave, but I will show you what I do first. So it's essentially all you really need. It's going to be a little bit watery, but what we do is throw the protein in. So what I'm using is Foundry Industries. It comes really, really thick. Really nice, digests really well, doesn't feel heavy on the stomach, and it is nice flavored. So this is chocolate, so we go with 40 grams in here. Okay, chuck that in, there we go. And then just whisk that in until there are no clumps. Again, I use a big bowl because that's exactly why. So, sorry, Isabel. I use a big bowl just so I can whisk this shit out of it without going everywhere. Although sometimes it does come out of the bowl. But as you'll see now, it becomes quite thick. So that consistency, so literally like slop. So I'm gonna pop this in the microwave. Lily's gonna come over here and I'm going to show you my supplementation. So what I'll do is I'll just pop this in for like 30 seconds and that'll just bind it a little bit. Okay, and then when the camera's off, I'm gonna lick the shit out of this because I don't like wasting any food. But essentially into the supplements for the night, we have our little nightcap here, a few sups. What we have is, if you look at this beautiful cupboard that I've got, well, little pantry, I could call it, loaded with absolutely everything. With our rice flour, salt, we've got our supplements for the gym, we've got our supplements for morning, night, Powerade powder, everything you think of. But we have these 3 bad boys that I was talking about earlier. Heart stack, kidney, blood pressure stack, and the liver stack from Supplement Needs. Like I said, bulletproof stuff, especially for like an enhanced user. So running with them, second dose, we have our second dose of omega-3s. What else do we have? We have NAC, again, second dose of this. And then I use these only at night time, which is L-theanine, 200 milligrams, magnesium glycinate at 400 milligrams at night, muscle recovery, cramping, recovery. L-theanine is going to help with just winding down, stress recovery and support. So 200 to 400 milligrams depending. Morning I'd only do 200, nighttime you can do 400. Just play around with it, see what feels best. And then I have my salt as well. So back over here. Alrighty, final product. We have 100 grams of cream of rice flour, 100 grams of raspberries, 100 grams of mango, but I ran out, so I put a little bit of frozen banana in there, and 15 grams of almond butter, and 40 grams of whey. That brings our total to, for meal 5, 681 calories, 45 grams of protein, 104 grams of carbs, and 7 grams of fat. Daily total, 4,300 calories, so 4,300, 288 protein, 600 carb, 83 fat. So it's actually the highest my protein's ever gotten to. So closing in on like that 300 mark, I'm finding, I'm keeping it tighter through this off season. So, carbs aren't as high as they were like last off season. They got to like nearly 1,000 grams and I was at like 5,500 calories or close to 6,000. This time around, like at 4,300, about 600 carb. Fats are a little bit higher, but protein's sitting a lot higher. So yeah, things are tight, keeping it sort of lean, and it's seems to be working well. So that is it. I hope you are all enjoyed, and there'll be more coming, especially as food does start getting higher. But I'm going to eat this, get to bed because I'm knackered. So I'll see you all in the next video.